Welcome Home Radio Podcast. Are you looking to buy or sell your home? Our team is here with answers to guide you through the buying and selling process. We encourage you to ask questions. Please comment on this show or visit us at welcomehomeradio.net for more information. Bringing real estate, lending, and education together in one place, and to help you make the right home decision for you and your family.
And welcome to Welcome Home Radio, where real estate, lending, and learning do come together. It is August 12th, 2026. Great to see you, Tom. Glad you're here today, sir.
Yeah, it's really nice being inside instead of out in the 1,000-degree heat.
Well, then you'd probably agree with my neighbors who call me the crazy veteran on the street since I mowed my lawn on Thursday afternoon of last week. And then I went to play golf on Friday, and tee time was at 10:30. So it was rather enjoyable.
Those are both activities that should occur about 6 in the morning.
Well, I've never been known to be mentally sane and or claim it. So, you should know that by now.
I do know that by now.
Hey, we're still in this series of Your Turn to Ask. And we want to jump right in. We've got several good questions here. Our first one says, Welcome Home Radio. It seems my affordability is really challenging, even though my income increased. Help me understand why. I think that's a very solid question, and it's a big challenge still in the real estate world. And I'm a little bit big there, Mr. Producer. Thank you.
I thought you were the right size for one.
No. Hey, I'm trying to lose weight. I know the camera adds 50 pounds, but come on. I mean, the challenge, it seems like buyers, even though they have a change in income or they have a positive thing happen, they are still seeing what they consider affordability not possible. So what do you think we can help buyers with, Tom, to say and let them know buying a home is still a good thing, even though it's not at 2.5%, 3% interest like it many years ago, it seems like now, but also buying is an investment, as well as maybe you don't need what mom and dad have now, since they did springboard homes. They did their first experience in a smaller home, and you don't have to need that $800,000 home right off the bat. How would you answer them?
Well, one of the things I did research-wise was kind of look at what is causing the affordability problem. And in retrospect, or in looking at, statistically speaking, of course, prices of houses, not values, but prices of houses continue to climb in most markets. Now, of course, as I've pointed out in our show for this year, the houses in Austin are still in a quandary because that is the biggest decline in a market anywhere in the United States. So there are certain places in the market that we've seen softening, and in Austin in particular, dramatically different as far as the pricing is concerned, as far as dropping in the pricing. That's number one, is that we have that overall challenge. And a $100,000, think of this, a $300,000 house, if it goes up 4% in value, $300,000 house, that's $12,000 for it to go up in 4% in value. So that's a pretty tough little hickey to suddenly go from $300,000 to $312,000. And many markets are still increasing at more than 4% a year.
Well, I guess I can understand that, but I think some of the other costs to ownership is a challenge, because one of the unspoken, or it seems like to me, people talk about our principal and interest payment in loans, but they never talk about the insurance payment and or where they're selecting to live, an HOA. And those prices have gone, especially home insurance seems to have been on the rise in over 6% plus across many areas, because that's geographically done. How do they make a change there? How do they impact that cost, because it's not going down?
Well, that's a great question to ask. They can't, or they're hard, it's hard pressed. The biggest deal to do that, as far as insurance pricing is concerned, is shop, shop, shop. Now, the problem with insurance and shopping insurance is that you can find cheaper insurance, but who's providing that cheaper insurance? You know, Fred down on the street corner, I will give you insurance for food type situation. You really, unless you become an insurance expert and know about HOA-Bs and HOA-As and all the different stuff that's out there as far as the different types of insurance are concerned, you very rarely are comparing apples to apples in the insurance world.
Well, and I think you bring up a great question. Are they going to be around when you need insurance?
Exactly.
Like the water leak in my slab that took place, Joe Blow down the block that gave me great pricing. Are they going to show up? Oh, well, a leak in your slab we don't cover, or the deductible is going to be this much. And those are things that you have to ask questions about to be aware. And like you said, shop. I agree. Shopping your insurance every year is something that you, unfortunately or fortunately, however you want to look at it, need to do, because different agencies have different needs. And again, that deductible, make sure you understand what it means. On a $300,000 home, and a 3% deductible is $9,000 every time there is a claim. Deductible.
And it may become more wise to not even make a claim, because once you've made that claim, they're going to hit you, even though they say, well, we're not going to hit you, don't worry about it. They're going to hit you the next time your insurance comes around for renewal. And it's just incredible that, you know, I have a rental property that's pretty close to me here. And the reality is that instead of paying the 3% deductible on the insurance, which is the lowest they would have allowed me to get, I'd rather just go ahead and get and pay for a new roof. And that ends up costing me about $3,000 or $4,000. And I don't get the hit on my insurance the next year.
But you also don't get the deductible for a brand new roof.
No, you can go back and tell them you did. I've checked with my agent. I can go back and tell them I did a new roof, and they will consider the new roof for the next year.
Well, that's good. That's good. So again, affordability is the number one challenge for anyone. I don't care who you are, how long you've been.
And I hate to bedraggle insurance, but our friends moving from out of state, every one of them, unless you're moving from Florida, are being stricken with this behind, you know, the back of the head with, you've got to be kidding me. California, which theoretically is, you know, falling into the ocean, their insurance policies in California are more than half or less than half of what ours are here in Texas. So people don't realize the driving force, and you and I know what the driving force is behind our high insurance premiums here in Texas, right?
No, please share.
It is hail damage. And if you think about it logically, and you see a hailstorm coming at a certain area on one of those maps that the meteorologist is standing next to, it's not just, those are just little tiny dots of hail coming down, but that could be over excuse me, over a mini square mile coverage where that hail's coming down. So hail comes down not just on one roof when you see that dot. It's not just hitting one roof because it's one dot. It's hitting a section that's miles by miles covered with that hail when it's actually occurring.
I did not know. I probably could have gotten around to that, but I hadn't even thought about it. But yeah, that has been a significant problem here in Texas, especially with auto insurance, not just homes, car dealerships. What do they have? Hail sales now whenever a hailstorm comes through.
Oh, yeah.
Always a good time to buy a car. But affordability is a challenge, and how you approach this. Are you getting the help? Are you asking the right questions? You may qualify for a loan, but you may not like the payment, and that is true. But also, you need to set your expectations on the home you're looking for, how much you're bringing to the down payment. If it's your first time, then please don't consider that you need 5 bedrooms and a $600,000 home. I mean, there still are homes out there at 3, 4, 4.5 to be able to be purchased as a first-time home. So affordability, but let's go into another.
Well, I don't. This is such a good topic to start with. I did want to mention that you had kind of alluded to the 2% interest rates and 3% interest rates as far as affecting affordability. That hurt affordability the last time we went through it because everybody bid up prices. Well, look at that 2-3% interest rate. That's no big deal. I can afford blah, blah, blah. Well, don't trick yourself into the thinking that that is the solution, is waiting for lower interest rates. I mean, if you get a 7% interest rate or a 6% interest rate, like the current market now pushes, you're going to be talking about, well, I'll refinance when the time comes later. But don't be looking at, I'm going to wait for it to come down to 2%, because all that did was jack prices up to areas that we just were unfathomable, where you were seeing people offer $50,000 and $100,000 more than what the house was worth.
Well, you go right into our very next question. So let me ask the question and reframe, not reframe your answer, but extend on that. But Welcome Home Radio. Right now, there's mortgage rate uncertainty. With things around 6, what do I see in my near future? And what can I do longevity? And again, mortgage rates, as Tom just stated, if you're waiting on mortgage rates to be the impact of your purchase, then you're waiting on the wrong data point. 2.5%, 3% interest was great, and glad locking those in makes a long-term debt investment good. But the national average is 7.75 is the national mortgage rate average over the lifespan of mortgages, which is a little over 86 years. So the bottom line of it is, I remember buying my first home. Tom bought his first cave, and I'm sure it was around 17% interest. I know I bought mine at 13. And so these rates are not bad. Mortgage rate uncertainty is not something to make a decision. It seems like banks make mortgage rate a more important issue than it should be. If you want to buy a home, let's buy a home. It's an investment. A mortgage loan is an investment tool allowing you to invest your dollars that you're going to get a return for. Rent, leasing, you do not get that money returned. I don't care what you're paying. That money's gone. But a mortgage is an investment at whatever percentage rate you're going to gain. And as Tom just put it, a home value growing at minimum 4 to 4.5% here in Texas across every county. And in certain locations, it's even higher, up to 9% in certain locations. Now, Austin's fluctuating dramatically, going from high to low to high to low, but that's because of the major corporations moving in. Oh, Tom, did you hear it yesterday morning over at your place about EDS being blown up yesterday?
Oh, I did watch that.
Well, I heard it at my house.
Oh,
I literally preparing for church. The boom happened, and I got to tell you, my wife was like, "That's not thunder, is it?" I said, "No." And yeah, they literally blew up the old Perot EDS building.
wow.
And they're going to be putting in a $1.3 billion complex
For
AT&T. So what's going to happen with that type of corporation when Toyota moved here, AT&T moving? I mean, home prices, home values are going to grow. They're going to hold. So it's a great investment. It's rarely you're going to see those come down. But if you understand mortgage rate uncertainty, like Tom was explaining, buy a home that you can afford now and then refinance later, or the first time home buyer stays in their home an average of 3 to 5 years. So what do you care if you're paying 6% interest or 7% interest just for 3 years if you get the investment and now you have larger down payment to go into a better home that you want? This is how wealth is built. This is how comfort. But buy that starter home. Do not go out and try to buy your max dollar amount right off the bat. It makes no sense. You may hate the corner. You may hate the neighbor. You may hate the design. You may come to find out it is not what you like, and you get to find out what you do. I want to be in a quarter with neighbors all around me, or I like having being backed up, no neighbors close, and I want to go live out on a 10-acre farm. It may discover, but you need to discover that for you. So it's an investment. Mortgage rate uncertainty is constant. It's even more fluctuating now than it did. My goodness, Tom, when I got into this and I went to your class there at Champions, just getting started, rates would stay solid for 2, 3, 4 weeks. It was never a problem. Now they move every day. And sometimes morning to afternoon.
Morning and afternoon.
I mean, it's crazy. So it is a volatile market. We need to just understand that. But rate should not be the deciding factor for your home. You need to define what you want, what you like, what you can afford at whatever rate, because ultimately you can refinance that. And you may be only financing for 6, 9 months, and you refinance right out of that when rates are better, whatever that rate may be. I mean, I'm helping people trying to refinance coming out of 6 3/4 or 7 1/8 right now. And some people are able to sell that home, gain a 50 to 60,000. Now they've got a larger down payment for another home that's a little bit more necessity, but where they want to be in the school district and the size. Hey, I had a 2-bedroom. Now I need a 3-bedroom because my family's growing. And I want them to be in the Tom school district, wherever he's leading, that's independent school district. So I've got the ability. But you got to think mortgage rate uncertainty is not a driving data point for purchasing a home. Hopefully we've answered that properly.
I think so.
Finally, let's get to the right. And we kind of already touched on this. I didn't really suspect it, but Welcome Home Radio. Total cost of ownership is what I'm looking at. And it's rising between home pricing, homeowners insurance, property taxes, HOA dues, and then finally my maintenance and repair cost are driving me to be unaffordable in a home. What can I do to understand this better? Or where am I making a mistake? Well, a great question to ask. Budgeting repairs, budgeting maintenance. But what is spending? My wife, the biggest problem at our home that we had over the last 5 years has been the water bill. My wife blistered over and over. We got to keep the pool filled during cold times. We don't want the water freezing in the pipes during the winter. We got to keep it circulating, so we keep it. Come to find out, we had a leak in the pool.
Oops.
So having to get that done was critical. Now I'm barely putting water in the pool the whole year. I have to admit, she was right.
Wow.
And
good for her.
Good for her. And we have a lovely pool. It's enjoyable. But the bottom line of it is you have to prepare for maintenance costs. And you're absolutely right. We talked about insurance premium, property tax. Oh my goodness. That continues to go. And at certain ages, groups are frozen. Are you taking advantage of all the property declarations that you can to lower that tax down? And if you're a veteran, please contact me. I would love to help you lower your property tax. And especially if you're a 100% disabled veteran, let's be sure to talk to you about the benefits here in Texas for that. But then HOA dues, as I said earlier, are on the rise. HOAs are realizing we can't maintain water and do all the flowers, the flags, the Christmas lights, and all of that during the season at a minimum price. We've got to increase it. So get involved in your HOA so that you can vote. That's why condominiums are so dangerous, because one person, if they own a large portion, can vote an increase on everybody to pay for covered parking or to buy a new pool or to do something. So condominiums are a concern for anyone if you have somebody that has larger than 10% ownership in the condominium subdivision. But maintenance and repair costs. Tom, what can we tell people about just maintaining the home properly? Mowing the lawn, edging, watering.
Well, you've touched upon a lot of it, but let me give some nuance to what you were talking about. First off, you need to move, when you're buying your house, you need to move towards having a backdoor neighbor like I do right across the alley who knows how to fix everything and has every tool.
Become that friend.
Absolutely. Go and find the neighborhood. I don't mind fixing it. Here, I'll give you a little idea of how I would do that. Find that guy, because it sure does help when your big fence closing garage, not garage door, but your driveway fence door comes off its tracks. Getting all your neighbors over there to fix it instead of calling the fix-it guy.
That is true. That is true.
So that's always a good thought process. And plus, the more you know how to fix certain things, hot water heaters and the like of that, that is a skill that will go with you to the next house. So those are things that you can think about. Well, this is such a painful thing to do, but I will tell you, just about every repair that's necessary in your home has a YouTube film telling you how to fix it.
Wow. DIY Tom.
Well,
look at you.
It just became one of those things. Now, of course, as you get older and you're 85 like I am, it's pretty impossible to kind of do certain things you used to be able to do, but you can pay the next door neighbor, the kid, $20 to help you lift something or bring it over. So
you can supervise them, is what you're saying.
I become management at that point.
Well, I do have to agree with you.
Usually I'm not management at my house.
I do have to agree with you. I have learned how to repair sprinkler systems very well at my house.
Oh, gosh.
I have been able to learn to sprinkler heads, actually junction boxes, as well as something here in Texas that not many places in the United States have to do. We have to water our foundation here.
Yeah, right.
You do not want foundational repair work and insurance claims to be done. Water your foundation.
Foundations.
I mean, you may or may not know this. You may be coming from another state. But water your foundation. That is a simple thing to do, but it's a huge savings without foundation repair, because that can cause major problems. And so sprinkler heads, watering routines, mowing your lawn, caring for the outside, not only retains value, but retains repair costs tremendously. You are so true. Well, again, we're here to help.
I wanted to point out a couple of other things, though, real quick here. HOA, when my neighbors come down and say, oh, you saw the HOA, they raised their prices again, or they're raising their cost to us, and they're wah. And I go, I didn't see you at the HOA meeting. And then I just get that dead silence on the other end. That's when you have the chance to make your thoughts known. Hey, I know this yard service that does this, that will do it for 25% less than what we're paying. Hey, the common area stuff, we may not have to put Halloween out this year. How much did that cost last year? and you divide that by the 81 houses in the neighborhood. Most people don't even know how many houses are in their neighborhood. So they can take that cost and actually divide it by 80 or 100 or 200 and say, well, that costs me $3 a year. Do I want to do that or not? So those are things that, again, when we're thinking along the lines of what can we do, being proactive and going to HOA meetings is a big, huge deal. And then one of the last things that you talked about with the not only the taxes, getting your maximum write-offs or your maximum
deduction.
Yeah, because of age or because of whatever you might be eligible for as a veteran, that type of thing. The going in and fighting your values, I do that every year. And a lot of people say, Tom, we don't have time for that type of deal. Well, I can tell you that it took about 30 minutes total for me to do all 3 houses that I own in Dallas County. And I saved over $2,000 on the total bills for all 3 of them. And that's $2,000 that for my time, for my 30 minutes, I'm getting paid $4,000 an hour to go do that.
And most of us just have one home. So I think it is worth time looking at these things. Hopefully we've given you some total cost of ownership challenges that you can take. Otherwise, continue to bring the questions. Finally, I do want to share with the public, it's now getting into midterm elections. Our freedoms here in America are not free. We all have to stand. Every generation has to select if we're going to stand with the Declaration of Independence, a constitutional republic, not a democracy. And therefore, I challenge everyone. I don't care what side you're on, get out and vote. As Tom just said, if you're not involved in the HOA, you don't have a right to complain about the HOA.
Right.
So you don't have a right to complain about the United States government if you're not voting.
If you're not voting.
If you're not voting local, regional, state, or federal, don't complain. Whatever happens is going to happen, and it's on you. You have to accept it. But if you're going to at least have a voice, go and vote. Please. That is a right given to you, not by senators, congressmen, or a president. Those were rights given to us by veterans and battle-weary Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines in a Revolutionary War, a Civil War, and so forth. Those are freedoms that were fought for generationally, and we need to continue to fight for them and honor them by voting. So thank you very much for your time. I'm Blair Thomas.
And I'm Tom Hall.
God bless.
Welcome Home Radio production provided by Lunatic Digital. Check the listing of this podcast for the links to our sponsors. And don't forget to like, share, and follow us on social media. Visit welcomehomeradio.net for more information. This was a Lunatic Digital production. Visit lunaticdigital.com for all your digital needs.